All right, Eric, who is backing Mamdani politically, financially? What do we know about this? And what role did progressive networks play in this victory?
So it is a little complex. So I'm just going to take a step back because I'm not
Mhm.
sure all the viewers really understand who is CAIR, who is this United in Justice PAC. So before I begin, just want to say that as a native New Yorker, spent my whole life and raised my family there, the world's largest Jewish community is very worried. And we're worried because there's no penalty for being an anti-Zionist or anti-Semitic, and that we have mainstreaming of and it is respectable discourse to be in American politics anti-Semitic and anti-Zionist and demonize Jews based upon support or a connection to the Jewish state. So that gets us to Mandami.
Mhm.
So this organization, CAIR, the question is, many people think, and I am one of them, who thinks it's a wolf in sheep's clothing, and it is really about advancing Islamism in America. Now, Congresswoman Elise Stefanik, who's going to be running probably for the gubernatorial race in New York against Senator Hochul, which brings it all together with Mandami and New York politics, and Tom Cotton say, and I'm going to quote what they say about CAIR, and we'll tie it into what Linda Sonsor was saying, quote, that CAIR has a pattern of historic ties to Hamas, rhetoric aligned with Hamas narratives, and support for radical activism, what we saw on those college campuses. And it raises serious questions whether CAIR's support for Hamas amounts to material support for terrorism. So they're asking Treasury and the IRS to take away their tax-exempt status. And there's a long list of the directors, former founders of CAIR, who have been involved in some of the most questionable activities against Jews and against Israel, to the point that the Biden White House condemned CAIR's executive director for celebrating October 7th, which brings us to the case, what Linda Sonsor was saying about Mayor-elect Mandami and in relation to CAIR. So there's unity in Justice PAC. They share addressers personnel with CAIR, according to the American Federal Election Commission. And this PAC is run by somebody named Bassem Al-Kara, who's the former executive director of CAIR in California and the treasurer of CAIR Action, which mobilizes voters, Muslim voters throughout the United States. And CAIR Action was instrumental in mobilizing Muslim voters to back Mandami. So there's a lot of smoke. Is there fire? Of what's going on. And obviously by the comments that we have heard, the most telling was of a liberal rabbi, one of the national leaders, Rabbi Angelo Buchal of Central Synagogue, who said, "I fear living in a city and a nation where anti-Zionist rhetoric is normalized." So that's trying to put the whole package together of Mandami, CAIR.
Of course. Eric, what I want to ask you now is, he's made a lot of big promises, whether it's major services that would become free to New Yorkers like childcare, and then, the promotion of BDS, saying he'll boycott the joint campus of Cornell University and the Technion Israel Institute of Technology on Roosevelt Island as one example of that. Will he be able to follow through with many of these promises? Should Jewish New Yorkers who are not anti-Zionist be that worried?
I think they should be very concerned about what's going on here. He has tremendous power as mayor to do a lot of things. I know people have tried to minimize that. I think one of the most telling will be who he chooses to be his superintendent of education in the United States' largest educational system. And he may choose somebody, a close ally of Social Democrats, which is Jamal Bowman, a former representative, who's as vehemently anti-Israel, anti-Zionist, and anti-Semitic as the mayor-elect. And that could be poisoning the minds of a million young New Yorkers from K through 12. So I think there's a lot to worry. The things that will make the headlines are, will this be an invitation to those radical groups that we saw on college campuses to go out beyond the campuses, to go around the city? And when there's violence against Jews in New York because they wear a Jewish star, or they have a IDF T-shirt on, or that they dress in Hasidic garb, where will he be? Will he be like a Mayor Dinkins years ago when there was a pogrom in Williamsburg? Will he be part of New York's progressive DA that doesn't enforce these type of things? That's somebody else who was just elected yesterday, Alvin Bragg. So I think there's tremendous reason to worry for New Yorkers. And I think, though, that this red-green alliance, Marxist Islamist alliance, if the Democrats think that this is a blueprint for a national election, I think this is very specific to New York. And if they run with that, I think that's the best chance of having a Republican win the presidential election in 2028.